Oh,
Okay, I won't. I'm sorry.
thank
I'm
you.
sorry. I'm
Thank
sorry.
you. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, this is an auspicious start to the post show podcast. I promise this time it will not be so damn long. And I'm watching the counter now to make sure that won't be long. So hopefully while this is happening, I'll monitor the audios. First and foremost, it's the current and now, the newest OCW World Champion. It is El Parker. El Brian, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good.
Fantastic, right? Feel really good about yourself?
I feel great.
Yeah, you feel good? You feel great? You
Yeah.
feel good?
Yeah.
He feels fucking great. Let me just make sure that his audio's up because it's a little low on this end. Okay, and the other person.
I'm on AirPods.
Oh, and the other person is the the former OCW World Champion, also the booker for Turmoil, my spirit animal, the lovely and talented, the wide hip demon, Jake Allen. Say hello.
Only one or two of those things is accurate. Hello.
Maricon. Okay, anyway. So basically, we just had our final show for 2K19. So I wanted to say thank you. It's not a living thing, but 2K19 has been more than adequate for us for the last almost 3.5 years.
Jay,
What?
turn us up. The
Turn us
fans
up?
can't hear me and Brian.
They're gonna hear you really close now. They're gonna hear you.
Turn
now.
us up.
You can.
There we
seriously?
go. There we go.
Okay.
I'm just reading the chat, my friend.
All right,
I'm just
these
reading
people.
the chat.
I'm not that drunk, but Jesus. So can I finish what I was saying, or that's not me being rude? That's just me, making a thing. So anyway, 2K19. I'm very happy. We did amazing, stellar job for the past 3.5 years. I'm so proud of everybody who participated in 2019, even the people who were mad, loose and losery. But that's neither here nor there. Does anyone want to say anything nice about 2K19 before we begin with the show? Jake,
What else is there to say that we haven't already said? Holding us down for 3.5 years. Walked into it after 2K18 thinking this is an okay replacement, and then all of the trials and tribulations after that made us realize what a great replacement that it was. And I'm glad that they kept the servers up after 2K20.
El Brian?
Just more of the same that I'm going to repeat. Great game. Going to miss it. Looking forward to the new era.
Fantastic. So before I bitch about 2K22, let's go on with the show. I guess kudos to Jake because that was your idea. I was kind of done after anniversary, and then we, I guess, figured out to do this, and I was concerned about the timing. I was concerned that nobody would show up, and apparently motherfuckers showed up, so that was kind of amazing. So you are correct on that, and I'll give you a kudos for that, Jake Allen.
Hey, thanks. I just felt that, anniversary show was like a month ago.
Yeah.
And we knew the game was coming out here, and it was way too long to wait without any OCW content. And I always give this particular iteration of the roster the benefit of the doubt, and this show is why.
So, yeah, kudos all around. So let's move into the match. We want to do segments also, or just matches?
We'll run through them all. Let's just be quick about it.
Okay, so we'll be quick about it. We'll start with the Christian Garcia segment. I'll take it to the all-knowing eye-seer, Jake Allen.
Yeah, so this the music did a lot for this segment. If anybody actually pays attention to the Garcia, Jasmine Caffey stuff, then you know that it all makes sense. And it was a very emotional moment after Garcia turned face. I thought it fit perfectly where it was. I loved that the North American title opened the show, which we'll get to, and I don't think this got in the way of the action or anything because, it was just the start. But it was well put together, and if you follow along with that story or care about it, then it probably hit you different than other people.
El Brian.
You're kind of leading into what Jake said. That dynamic of Christian Garcia and Jasmine, I have to say, the handler behind those two characters really does it super well. So to see that they open the show with that segment leading then into, what the North American title match was. It was beautiful. It was a really nice to start the match, to start the show.
Well, peeking behind the curtain, essentially, that was going to start the show to begin with, but I asked Jake if I should shuffle the card, and he was like, yeah, and I shuffled the card, and then people were submitting stuff before matches like, no! So it is what it is, so I'm glad it worked out. I don't like putting segments before matches when it starts a pay-per-view, but hey, you got to fucking experiment, so we did, and it wasn't terrible. So moving on to the actual match itself, my only complaint about the actual match was please don't use footage like that because that usually gets tagged up on the Twitch and the YouTube, and then they want to be stupid to us. So I'll keep that in mind, or else put like a filter over it to distort the vision enough that it won't pop the stupid robotic algorithms. Other than that, the match itself, I thought it delivered. I thought it told a good story. Rex, with Rex, you either get him beating ass and then dying, or beating ass and winning. So basically, there is no in between. I think it served its purpose. Jake Allen.
No, they did a great job, and Rex had kind of a weird arc himself, where he usually gets gassed at the start, and that started to happen, and he actually broke through that barrier and was able to really tell his own story in a way. So it came on like the heels of the whole documentary that really harked on him for gassing, and it started the show. Because of what happens later, it started the show where like, oh, DDE, they're crowning their main champion, and then we end up seeing what's happening later. So that's going to create a whole lot more potential stories to be told for the next era. But the match itself was like all the other. I feel like we're going to repeat ourselves on all these matches. It was excellently done. Like there's so many organic spots that happened that popped me, and great job to both people for telling the story that they did.
That's why I said it's going to be a short podcast, because there's like the only thing I got to complain about will be later, but it was a solid like this I guess if I should have just named this 16.5 instead of 17, but this is a fucking like probably would go down as one of the best shows of the year. But then, it's at a weird point in time. But other than that, Brian, thoughts on the match?
It was a really good opener, and kind of adding into what Jake said, where Ross started to gas, I was like, please, dude, please don't choke right now. But both guys really went out there and did a great job. So, yeah, it was a beautiful opener, and I can't wait to see what happens down the road with DDE now that we have two singles champions.
Disgusting. Moving on, we have the Turmoil Tornado tag match between More Etiquette and Tiramisu. My thoughts about this: utter bedlam chaos, didn't overstay its welcome. A bunch of fucking crazy ass spots. Hari coming along by herself because of the whole heat with Ashley Moore. It was a fun match. It was a really, really fun match. And it was a tag match that did not overstay its welcome. And it was a women's tag match. We have so many women's tag matches that I guess if 2K22 winds up sorting its shit out, maybe we'll just do a women's tag division title. That might be interesting. Jakey.
Yeah, the match itself was one of the more fun tag team matches I've played all year. Obviously, I was a part of it, so I know a little bit more. But the whole dynamic of one team getting along very well and the other team not getting along very well, and seeing how they address the same problems in very different ways. It was a different way to tell a story in wrestling, other than just like, we hate each other and now we're gonna fight. So I'm glad it made the pay-per-view, because the match itself lived up to the hype. Obviously don't care about the loss, because all the stuff was so hard-hitting and quick, and we engaged.
It was fucking great. Brian.
Oh, dude, strictly from like just the competitive aspect, that match was so fucking good. I literally because tornado tag matches, just looking at them on paper, you can have what we got here tonight, and I'm really not trying to shoot, I'm just saying. You have what he had here tonight between Tiramisu and More Etiquette, and then if you look on the past Ambition, when we had Wolves of Vanguard versus TWC, it's like they're so 50-50 on how they're going to go, and oh, that one was just so good. That one was the first match where I actually started to jump off of my couch when I was watching.
Nice. So here's a fun fact that maybe whoever's listening could understand how some of my thought process goes. Whenever I book a pay-per-view, I put in a couple of factors in my head, and I have like a built-in equation. Generally, when I book a match for a pay-per-view, I try to figure out how many actual people will benefit from this match. Meaning, so if you have the More Etiquette versus Tiramisu match, you have 4 unique handlers, one of which is doing double duty, i.e. the handler, Jamie. So in this case, 3 people benefit from that match. So if there was going to be a match that was, let's say, something like, who was on the match that people wanted to see that didn't get to see on the show? Like, let's say, for example, all right, if we take Bobby, and Quesionica Amber, right? One is already booked, and the other one's going to be on the show regardless. They're both alternate characters. So who does that benefit? It doesn't really, it kind of benefits the one handler, but you have that versus say 3 that benefit. So if you're making a logical decision, what would you do? Would you benefit 3 people or would you benefit just one person? Anybody here want to chime in, or can we just move on? Just want to point that out.
Yeah, there's no surprise that we disagree about that.
You do
in particular, because
of course.
I think it should be. I think it should be based mostly
meritorious.
On
it is
the,
also. It is also meritorious.
I know it is. I know it is, and you weigh things a certain way, but I think you weigh the fact that certain people are showing up too many times a little too heavily. Because if a certain, I think you did this one perfectly. I don't think Bobby and Amber, the characters, just haven't earned a pay-per-view reputation so far. Like the other people have.
There was another match,
but I don't think other people should be thrown by the wayside just because they own the same handler.
Well, not necessarily thrown by the wayside, but you understand. Anyway, so speaking of Bobby, wait, no, this one was this was actually Bobby and Amber. Interesting segment. Amber comes out, introduce what I appreciated about this segment was the fact that Amber basically gave a quick brief breakdown of who she was. So if you're just watching, you get an idea of, okay, that's a problem that we tend to have in OCW is familiarity. So you just assume that everybody else knows what's up, but you also have to take into consideration people watching on YouTube or people watching on stream, and might not necessarily know, everything. So if you just give them a quick precursor, it kind of brings people up to speed, and overall it's a smart tic-tac, in my opinion. So finally, Bobby Body shows up, and Bobby Bodies Amber. Beautiful spot. Didn't overstay its welcome, which is a point of mine. Never overstay your welcome. Hit your points and keep it moving, and I'm happy. Even if it's a shitty segment, as long as you hit your points and you keep it moving, I'm a happy producer. We'll take it to El Brian first.
I mean, you pretty much said what I was going to say. Rye always does consistent good work. So, when you see a Rye segment, you know that they're going to get in, get out, and get their point across. So it was really good and really solid. And I can't wait to see what they do, obviously, going into 22 with that, that story and that dynamic.
Assuming they stay, because 22 got a lot of people polarized. Jake Allen, thoughts?
I'd like a little bit more, I guess nuance is the only word that I can use with those two, but it's a fine introduction to both of them as characters. My initial thoughts were that I did not like the Amber Ray opening portion, because you need to be moving something forward with that opening point. You can't just be, I'm having a mic so somebody can interrupt me. And there's another one later that I think does it a little better, which we'll get to. But yeah, actually, you've changed my mind when you talked about having a presence, because that is something everybody's like, why should I care about this? Who's this? And you're gonna hate to hear this, Jay, but it's the WWE thing where you need to continue to repeat things over and over and over to make them have presence. It's a very smart way to do things. I know you did, but I applied it to WWE, and you hate everything they do. So I'm saying that you're gonna hate that.
Okay. All right. Well.
But you're right. You're absolutely right. In what you said, I think it maybe could have gone a little longer from attack wise, but it was nowhere near Valmont, so it was fine. And
I thought it knocked. I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
Did I say longer? I meant to say shorter. It could have gone a little shorter, but it did not even get close to Valmont territory. So it hit the marks that it needed to hit. And for a low card beginning new character feud, it's pretty good. Honestly, with no surprise with the handlers involved.
Okay, so now we move on to one of the sleeper hits, Derek and the Last Blacksmith. So a quick spoiler alert. Apparently, I was given the information that Derek left. I was like, okay. And then because I'm a chatty patty, I told Jake. So we brought that, onto commentary. There's actually a role play explaining it. So we were actually in the future. So if you watch you're not, we basically gave it away before you read it, even though it was a page on the first page of the actual pay-per-view. So less than amicable via roleplay. Nice roleplay. It basically establishes Derek as a spoiler alert. And speaking of which, if he's here, that was a really good example of what I like to see in a roleplay. It wasn't too long. It got the points across, and basically you see Derek going out on his own. And then as we see in the following match, he proceeds to go out on his own and has a really good match that got people talking. So shout out to him, other than he looks like, fucking Grimace, but we can work on that in the future. This match I was afraid to have, because while I feel they kind of earned it, it was just It's not that the Mateo is bad. It's just that there's too many combustible elements in my producer / booker head. And I was like, oh man, it's gonna turn up into a shit show. But no, fucking great hard-headed match. A lot of really good fucking spots. You could actually do a music video based on this match. I'm very proud of both men. My only concern is I wish Mateo looked more like Mateo and less like Alex Asher. So we'll take it away to, who did I have first? I had Jake. We'll take it to Brian first and Jake.
So I'll be one to completely admit I wrote this match off. I completely was like, nah, it shouldn't be on here because it was just totally out of nowhere. And obviously now with you stating there was a written RP, stating that Derek and Wolves of Vanguard split up, and then the match. That's what really made me eat the gravel on this. Is that match had no reason being as good as it should have been. So it's like, that made me the believer in it. And I was freaking out when Derek finally, his first one-on-one singles match on a pay-per-view against, someone who is honestly a sleeper. A lot of people don't want to sit there and say that Mateo is really good or stuff like that because, he's the SND and hardcore guy. But that shit was a sleeper banger match.
It was fucking really enjoyable. Jake.
Yeah, I am almost in the same camp, whereas I nearly wrote it off because it was not what I was expecting for when Mateo was calling people out. Mateo's kind of he's a very weird Goldberg-esque special attraction for OCW at this stage in his career. So when he comes out, something crazy is about to happen. And when Derek showed up, it was like, okay, is he just going to stomp his head in? But the end of it was all made it worth it. Derek splitting from the Wolves and showing that he can do his own thing. And I think this match in particular, of all the matches, has the most potential to branch off into a second match in the feud because this was a singles match, and we all know that the Last Blacksmith does not thrive in wrestling contexts.
Yeah, it was super duper enjoyable. Okay, so now we have the next segment is Lotus Flojo, the championship segment. Okay, so here's a thing that I've been trying to grapple with since certain people, probably one person, wants 2006 J and everyone else is like, no. So again, when it comes to segments, so let's just bring you back real quick. You remember how I used to fuss about match length and then over time everybody got it and then matches were easy peasy, breezy, beautiful cover girl. Like matches were succinct. They were entertaining, bing, bam, boom, bombs, your uncle. You guys remember this, yes? Or am I crazy?
Yep.
Okay. That was less confident, but I'll take it, whatever. So the problem is I feel like when it comes to promos and segments, I feel like it's like, all right, well, we can't have a long match. We just have a longish promo. And when it comes to that cheeses my grits. There's little things we can do to improve the flow because, again, you want to have your audience, whether it be us or whether it be people on the outside, doesn't matter, either or, to be entertained. You don't want to be a slog. You don't want to be me cutting a 7-minute, 20-minute promo in semi Italiano, putting the snooze fest. That's 2018 or 17 if you didn't know that. So with this segment, I think it started off strong and then it just kind of went down the fucking rabbit hole of what the hell are we watching. So I think it's a production standpoint. I don't hate it, but I did not love it in the slightest. I'll take it to Jake. Thoughts?
Yeah, we disagree heavily on this.
Okay.
You hated this from the jump in the viewing party, and you let everybody know about it.
I didn't say anything about it, did I?
Yeah, you did. You were very
okay.
harsh on this. I thought you were way too harsh on it. I mean, the whole point of this to me was to bring out Flojo and have like a new champion feel. And she did that. She had the whole entrance. The Furiosa entrance was long, but it's Furiosa. Like, that'll happen. I think there's more to complain about in terms of the content of the promo, and they didn't want to go long, so I understand why Flojo didn't fight back. But if you have substance in something, it doesn't matter if it goes long. The whole first, I'd say like 2 minutes of this had a lot of substance, and then they kind of tapered off at the end. And I think a lot of that is fear that they didn't want to go super long.
But they did go long. Sorry.
I know, but I don't think they did. I really don't think they did. I mean, it was an entrance, and that part had to be there. You can't just come back with Flojo in the ring.
No, that's
fine. You have to have that full entrance.
Yeah.
And then what made you angry was the Furiosa entrance because it went long. It didn't go long. That's just her entrance. So I don't think there's any way to avoid that. And what they could have done is something Max said in the chat. It was perfect in the Bobby and Amber Ray segment. The climax of the whole segment made all of the wait worth it. And for this one, I'm not going to tell them how to tell a story because FloJo just walked away and wants to do her thing, whatever. But if there's a climax, if there's something you're building to, all of that waiting can be worth it. I think you were still a little too harsh on it. It was whatever. It's not like it's worth blowing up over, but just try and have a little bit more substance in everything you do. I don't know.
Oh, okay, so before I get to O'Brien, I'll just give my producer note because that's the important part. So what I would have did is to save time. FloJo's part was fine. No issue with that because of course it's the champ, it's the pay-per-view, blah blah blah. The promo FloJo cut was also fine because again, Where I would have ended is you could have did the pomp and circumstance for Furiosa. You could have had a stare down and FloJo could have fucked off Bob's your uncle. That's what I would have done. That would have, I think.
That's what happened.
But they were
what
still,
are you talking? That is
still
literally what happened.
There was a talking point though. There was a talking segment. They were going back and forth afterwards.
No, they weren't. Furiosa said something. She said like 2 lines of text, and then FloJo walked away. That's what I was saying. She did not fire back, so it was like, oh, you did all that just so she could walk away. She did. It was a stare down, basically. There was like, if you're fighting over 15 seconds of Furiosa dialogue, then we can't bridge that gap, I don't think.
Well, I'll just be ignorant. O'Brien, thoughts?
So I'm not too familiar. So like the only bits of Cassianity that I had seen were obviously when there was the Turmoil and when Cass himself was in Cassianity. So just to, appease you a little bit, Jay, if you really wanted to cut the time off, what you could have done with Furiosa is just done the lights out and just have her appear behind FloJo. But I'm in the same boat as Jake. It really wasn't that big of a deal for me on the length because it's like they're trying to, at least I imagine, give off these like spooky vibes of, Furiosa, so terrifying. But I kind of wish we would have gotten more from FloJo in this segment, not just walking away, simply because you're the champion. You finally conquered this mountain, especially when she beat La Mujer. It's like you beat this person that has been literally causing you hell for so long, wanted you to retire. You did it at the event where it all started. Yet Furiosa comes in the ring and you're like, nah, peace out, I'm done. It's like, no, it's like you were right there, but then you took it from me. So it's like, didn't hate, but damn it, you left me wanting way more.
All right, well,
and I think that was their design, to be fair. That's why I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, because like that's, if this ends in a good way, then I'm okay with that part of it. But I do agree with what you're saying.
I really wish people would agree with me, but it's fine. It's a new era. Anyway.
I mean, I just gave you something to appease you, so you're fine.
So the next bit, we have Colin lock, the special lock and key.
Excellent from top to bottom.
Yeah,
No notes.
yeah. It was 3 minutes 36 seconds. Entertaining all around. Basically, my only complaint is you can't stop running. I don't like. What are you doing, Colin? That's basically it. It's only the trope. But yeah, and also I guess Colin's dead now. So I guess, are we Impact now where people die again in OCW? Because Colin's dead.
Yes.
He ain't no coming back. Colin's dead. We gonna have Zombie Colin? Maybe. Yeah, it was really well produced. It was fucking funny as fuck. It was also hilarious at the same time. So shout out to them though. Colin really doesn't miss. See, Colin has 2 things. If Colin does something short and dinky, it's short and dinky. So it's like, okay, whatever. If Colin goes a little bit longer, it'll usually have substance. And this one was one of them where, it hit fucking really good. So I guess, Jake, we'll take it to you. Your thoughts, and then O'Brien.
Like I said, no notes. It's perfect from top to bottom. They mixed a lot of different horror genres, and they, like just the whole production of it is able to hit notes of seriousness while also remaining funny, and that's what I think Colin thrives at the whole way through. So there's not a lot of feedback I can give on this. It's just excellent all the way through, and every time Colin's in a segment, I'm going to be entertained.
O'Brien.
Via my legal team, I didn't see that segment. I'm not an accessory to murder, you know what I mean? But if I would have seen that segment, I love how Trance has now been, like, I know he's always been that big, that big legend and this big monster, but it's like, I really love how they played on like, oh shit, like we let Trance out. He's out of the storage container, guys. Like we really messed up.
Nope.
So yeah, that dude, I lost my mind. That was so funny, and it's just more of the same. It was a wonderful segment, top to bottom, and especially going into 22, I'm really curious to see what they're going to be able to pull out because, you know, anything Colin does is just money.
What is he doing in a storage container? Why is he in a storage container? It doesn't make any sense, you fat pig. Anyway, I didn't even think about that, but I don't give a fuck. Because fuck it, it's wrestling. That's why. Fuck you. Next
True.
segment, back to back Colin. Ashley looks for Hari. As Solomon Kane said, the theme of this show was felonious assault. This is a problem that happens when you have things like AEW or EFED. So it's not really a problem that can be fixed by anything because the level of cooperation and collaboration needed for something as succinct as a WWE show, which is horribly boring at times, Jake Allen, is non-existent for an EFED. Yeah. So I guess now we're for sure they're not getting back together because fucking she just ran homegirl over with a fucking golf cart. Jake, what the fuck? What you got?
A lot of what I said for the Colin Locke segment can be repeated here. I didn't expect this. I didn't know this. Obviously, we had been in talks. Obviously, we had been in talks a lot regarding the whole storyline and how it was going to play out. But I did not know that this was the end game. And if it means that a Hari Ashley Moore match is on the horizon, then I was going to be there for it before, and that's what I actually thought was coming of this before they joined up. So I'm definitely on board. And, you know, like I said, it's Colin, so like, the fucking golf cart.
How the fuck did you get the back of the golf cart? I can't, O'Brien.
Oh, it was hilarious. I wasn't expecting the blow up quite as soon. You know, I was a little bit like, when I seen Harry and Ashley obviously team up, but to see him like already like fully implode, it's like, all right, this is going to be some real funny stuff to see what happens because, as Jake said, you know, obviously now we're gearing up to have the one-on-one match between the two women.
So it's gonna be interesting, but it's gonna be a long time because you don't often just are resilient after getting hit by a goddamn golf cart. But hey, who the hell knows, right?
Not unless you're Ashley Moore, baby.
There you go. So moving on, we have Iceman versus Harris Turner, another just hard-hitting event. This is one of the stories that I like because it's simple for me, for my ape-like brain, basically. You know, a little miscommunication. Iceman's like, fuck you, kid. Harris like, but I just, it's okay, man. Can we be? No, you can't be friends. And then they fight. This match was fucking really fun to watch. Really hard hitting. And it just, you know, it told a great story between the two icebreakers and fucking Turner being like, no, and then the one turn of the century, Iceman stuffs it. The second one, got the W. It was just all around a really, really wonderful match, and I enjoyed it wholeheartedly. Jake Allen, your thoughts, sir?
They put on what I would say is the second best match of the night. Oh, okay,
bold. All right, gotcha.
I don't know how bold it is, but it is just kind of what I watched. The whole 2K19 process of adjusting all the times of the matches, like you said, we've gone through multiple like patches or whatever we want to call them. And this was like a perfect personification of what we want the matches to be week in and week out. And I think it's very poetic, for lack of a better term, that it happened on the last show, you know. So the fact they were able to put that all together and incorporate the elements of their own story and leave the viewer in a lot of suspense, because there was like kickouts nonstop, 2K22 style. I was a big fan the whole way. I would say it's the second best match of the night.
Fair. Jordan Bryan, L. Bryan Jordan.
Oh my God.
Really
just dropped the curtain hard with the government name.
All the government names.
So it's two of my favorite people in OCW. You know, you have Mac and you have Harris Turner, and you know the handlers behind those guys. At the end of the day, they're not those people who are like, oh, we gotta always win. It's like, especially with Mac, you know, it's always about trying to put on a great story, and that's what they did. For how quick of a build and like turnaround this story was, and then the match, it's just like, it was one of those matches where at first, I don't know if many people were like writing one of each guy's off, but like as it progressed, it went to a way more 50-50, like, holy shit, who's going to be able to pull it off? Like, which guy is going to have the grit to pull it off and win? It was wonderful.
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody wrote this off. I was actually looking forward to putting this on the damn card. I was like, I can't wait to see what the hell happens. And
not like write it off in a bad way, but like, because sometimes people can be like, oh, like Harrison to come in and just dominate, or someone be like, hey, Maxon to come in and just dominate. So it's like I would really have wondered to see what the Vegas odds would have been with this match.
Maybe one day in a galaxy far, far away we can that, but until then we have to move on. And with that we have the am I losing my brain? Oh no, I'm not. Okay, we have I actually skipped ahead to the no, I didn't, I'm sorry. What the hell, my brain doesn't work. Oh wow, I actually did skip ahead. I skipped around, doesn't matter. The next match is actually, if I'm not mistaken, the tag match between Dominion and the Uncrowned. The first tag match was succinct, to the point, chaotic, and fun. This match it felt like a clinic, and it felt like a showcase of why Nate's fucking Nate for 19. God bless his soul. This was fucking a dope ass match. Do I have any minor complaints, Jake Allen, or am I being crazy?
Do you have any minor complaints? So I can't speak for you.
You
I don't
sure?
know, do you?
I don't know. No, I think no. I really ain't got nothing. I think the only thing that bugged me was a little bit running for a tag, but other than that, no, it was a solid fucking match, man. I don't have any negatives to say about this match. If I want to be critical, maybe it's a little bit long, but it was still really entertaining and everybody was firing on all cylinders. The thing is that, a lot of you guys don't have the context past maybe a little bit of 18 and then just the whole 19 era. I have the context of seeing tag match of seeing a tag match booked and then just collectively sighing and holding my head in my hands because it was going to be something very long, very annoying, very boring, and just like, ugh. Lately, the tag matches, and when I say lately, I'm going to say maybe the last year and a half, 2 years, maybe 2.5 years, around that time, have been pretty much on point for the most part. So it's just nice to see. So I'll take it to Jake Allen on your thoughts on this match.
Yeah, usually this is one of the areas that we usually clash because you always see something initially and then you go, wow, this is gonna be bullshit. And I'm like, no, just let it happen. Like that, why would it be bullshit? You have no recent logical reason to think that would be the case. And for this one again, that it wasn't, thankfully. I mean, obviously the people involved, we always knew it wasn't going to be, but they had a lot of quick tags, which I like. The tag team scene has picked up massively over the last few months, especially, but definitely over the last year or so in season 16 and 17. So this was never ever going to be a loser for me. Tag team matches, I'll book a whole card of Turmoil tag team matches next year if you let me. So I'm a big fan of the tag team matches, and it's very healthy these days, and I think the handlers have a lot to do with it.
It's just basically just, because the reason I am the way I am, and I hope you understand this, is because I have such a long line, and it takes a lot for me to just finally switch it off. That's why I have to continually jump in and tell you that this is not 2010 and you need to chill the fuck out. Or is this not 2006? Is this not 2005? I mean, I was around when there was an international.
Could be any year.
Yeah, I was around for a North American match with 4 people that ended in 1 minute 20 seconds. And then when they complained, I said, do it again. They did a rematch, and the rematch was 1 minute and 40 seconds. I said, fuck it. I didn't care. No longer pay-per-view. Just for context. Anyway, L. Brian, your thoughts?
More from a kayfabe aspect, I liked how it looked like Nate really reeled it in, because at the beginning of the match, you had Uncrowned honestly start to walk away with it. Like, it really looked like this was going to be a clear Uncrowned win, and I was like, damn, like, that's crazy. But then you seen Nate and Danny just something flipped, and they were like, all right, like, I took this personally, let's get this W. So, it's like, kind of like, to add on to what Jake said, it's, not to be that person, but it's not all those years ago. Like, what CQC did, what Lucha Country did, what Puro Country did, like, the tag division and tag match quality is just completely different from even 4 years ago, that any tag match, in my opinion, hard. That's the bit. It was wonderful. I loved that match, JCS.
Yes. Okay, so now we have probably I'm going to put as my segment of the night, Colby McCallum's Ice Cold Declaration. The weird thing about this is that Aries was like, hey, I have a segment. I need, if you guys can do commentary. And I was like, sure. shit didn't happen, so we couldn't do it. But watching this is like, why would we have commentary?
That was
over
the
this?
one.
Yeah, why would we have commentary over this?
Okay.
If I want to be, you know what? I will be nitpicky producer guy because I'm gonna just be the guy now. My only complaint about this is just essentially, I wish there was some ambient crowd to react to some of the fucking zingers he was saying. Other than that, if I had to say, this is what I would want every fucking show of every fucking, every week of everything. I want stuff like this. A minute 34, hit high notes, got good reactions, told a story, got to the point, and built up what was happening. If, obviously everyone's different, but if I could get this every fucking week from everybody, forget about it. I'll fucking make Tony Khan look like he's on fucking no dose, B. Oh no, not no dose. I make him look like he was on lean, son. Cause that's the level of amped I was. I watched this, I was like, oh my fucking God, we are the shit. We are the fucking shit. Even though we don't do this highlight reel, this sim shit, none of this stuff, no disrespect to them. We do player versus player. This is fucking beautiful. I don't know how he did it. I'm not even gonna ask. It was beautifully well done. I loved it. And I was thinking about it. I was gonna put this earlier in the show. I was like, oh, I'll have a match and then this. And I'm like, wait a minute. Nah, this is good because you see this like, oh shit. And then go to his entrance. You're like, oh shit. And guess what happened? As soon as everyone got to the entrance, everyone was fucking, let's go. So Jake, go ahead. Do your thing.
You said it, I think, perfectly. I commented on it that I think that's a little bit high of a bar to set for everybody to do every single week. I don't think that's really reasonable. Because you yourself just said that you don't even know how it was done. I have an idea how it was done, but that doesn't take away the fact that it was incredibly
fucking great,
ambitious, and well done. Yeah, when you told me we had a segment to commentate, and then like I came back on Thursday, and you're like, well, it's not in yet. And I was like, okay, this being the one, like, why? Why would we? What are we gonna say? Like, oh, let's go to Colby McCallum. Like, you wanted us for 5 seconds. You didn't need that shit. I didn't. The crowd noise, I guess I'm noticing now because you brought it up. It's a good point. I always like to have crowd noise under any segment that's not a pre-taped type of thing, where you don't want that to disrupt the flow. But this one could have worked. What I want to point out, especially here, is whoever, I don't know if it was Lou or somebody else, but the accent and the intensity of the promo, which is really hard to pull
fucking
off. Like
promos
are very tough to do, and if you just go in there in the booth and you just start talking, it can sound really illegitimate. It can sound weaselly. You don't want to do that. I've wanted to do stuff like that all the time, but my voice is already on the matches, so I just can't get away with it. But whoever did the voice for his promo did a fucking awesome job. I felt like he really believed in what he was saying, and a lot of what he said had substance, and it didn't overstay its welcome. So the thing was just great from top to bottom. Again, I'm repeating myself. The whole show is great.
This motherfucker went on Fiverr, I bet you, L. Bryan.
It's just showing how Aries is one of the most creative people around. Like Jake said it in the Twitch chat, how he's always so good at his segments, and he just never drops the ball. Like the Colby McCallum character, just in general, from top to bottom, from the look, his move set, and now especially that you're adding this layer of that with that promo, and it was amazing. Like, it just goes to show why, and I'm not trying to say in a bad way, but it's like why he's the GOAT of so many different things that he does, because when he puts that creative juices into the things, it's like he just shows that he can keep elevating the bar. And the whole story between him and Russ, it was just money.
It was the best feud of the pay-per-view.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'll be bold. Yeah, that's not even a bold prediction. So that takes us directly to this match, the match between Colby McCallum and Russ Cole. And yes, this is my match of the night. This shit was fucking, oh my God. I feel like Jim Cornette. If I could just have this all fucking show, like if I could just have these all show, I don't know what'll happen to me. Maybe I'll go even further down the rabbit hole that I annoyed Jake and Kent with and Theo with in fucking booking. This was fucking great. It was a fucking good match. It was competitive. I honestly didn't know how to call it. I was like, wait, is it gonna be Russ? Is it gonna be Colby? I can't tell. No one could tell in the viewing party either. People were making noises. People were shocked. People were awed. It was a fucking great match. And this wasn't even for a fucking title. This is what I'm saying. This wasn't even for a title. I remember days when if I wanted to get something maybe 5% of what this was, I would have to be like, hey guys, I would have to lie to people because if I told them it was for anything, they would go crazy. Nowadays, I'm spoiled because we just get good shit out of people, out of good people. So it was fucking amazing. And my little baguettes won, but it was just that was a fucking, I don't know, man. That shit could have gone.
They both
either
won.
way. They really did.
Yeah,
it was so
absolutely.
fucking. It was so. This is one thing. Also, a sidebar before I take it away. I guess maybe to Brian and Jake is. One thing that I've noticed in my years here is when it comes to creation of content is that there's certain type of people, and I don't have a name for it, so I'll just use Jake as an example. So there's people that, if they win, they'll do all the pomp and circumstance. If they lose, they'll just do their match. Nothing's wrong with that, but I kind of look down on those people when it comes to shit like that. This is an example of if you go into the mindset of me as an old OCW guy and I just see this, I'm like, oh shit, well, I guess Kobe won. To see all that and then he didn't win gives me that much more respect for him and for people like him that do that. Max also did it. Max had a package that came in late. He specified it was late, so shout out to him for not being an asshole about it. And you would think, oh, I guess Max wins, by my context, because remember, I have 17 years of this, but he didn't. And it's I don't know how to express it in a vernacular that makes sense to anybody, but seeing it so many years, I appreciate it when, that's not the case. So if you see this, oh shit, blah, 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 blah. Jake did a good one. Jake did that whole video for KD and like, oh shit, KD's gonna win. Nope. But that's because Jake is Jake. But these are things that I look for and I appreciate because it just shows that you're not in it for, my title. You're just basically you're there to put on good content, good foundational content, good stuff for the experience, for the audience, and for everybody, be it us, be it outsiders, etc., etc. So I always give respect, praise, and love for people that do that. So I forgot the order, so we'll just take it to Jake. Jake, take it away.
Yeah, the whole thing with what you're talking about with making content, a rule of thumb for myself, because it's super easy to get frustrated when that happens, is just make the content before your match, before you record it, or at least have a storyboard beforehand, so that you don't get frustrated and go away from that. But I don't think any of us are at that point. Anybody in the Fed right now that would be willing or talented enough to actually go to these extra segment lengths to make their story mean more, they wouldn't compromise that over a stupid win-loss, especially 3 years into 2K19. Nobody gives a shit. But yes, Russ Cole and Colby was the match of the night. The French 5-star factory is what I called him on commentary. It was off the cuff, but it is absolutely true because he really does. He puts on bangers every single time he's out there. And one thing that I wanted to comment on that I forgot to when we got to Derek and Blacksmith is the matchups on this one were really elevated by the position that each person was at the time. One problem that you can have is you can have somebody, and no disrespect, Brian, but I felt Parka and H2O suffered from this, is they weren't at the same level momentum wise when they encountered. That was not the problem with Russ Cole. Colby was coming off a huge win and a lot of momentum as a big asshole, and Russ Cole, who was higher than him, actually came down. So they met each other at this upper mid-card level. Somebody mentioned in viewing party, this is like an unofficial number one contenders match for the world championship. And I'm like, yes, it absolutely is, because whoever goes up from they're meeting at such a perfect point. I think Derek and Blacksmith were at the same level, where like Derek is on the way up, Blacksmith was on the way down, so they're meeting at a perfect level. The women's tag team match had this. The men's tag team match, not so much. And then obviously the title matches were what they were. But I think a lot of this show had perfect matchings. And this one was probably the most perfect in terms of momentum, where they were at. And I've already mentioned that it was the best feud of the entire month of the whole Certified Greatness build. So
fucking great.
Can't say enough good things. I could go on for days.
L. Brian?
More of the same. Neither guy lost any quote unquote stock. It's not, there's no negative coming out of this match. There's no negative with this story. This was absolutely the story of the show. And that was definitely the match of the night, because everything they did with their segments, and then, especially with that voice promo leading into the match itself, it's just, that's the peak e-wrestling you can get, and that's stuff that no one in the PvP sphere has other than OCW.
Yep.
Blow me, move on.
Yeah, pretty much.
Blow him.
That's the thing. No, that's the thing. I like how I just no, of course. That's the thing that I'll talk about this later, but that's the thing that's frustrating about OCW. Not OCW, but in general where we're at, moving forward. We'll talk about that when we wrap up. So we have the Marissa segment. Marissa meets her match. This is at almost 4 minutes. Honestly, my only complaint with Ryan is please fucking wear pants. If you're hearing this now, please, I don't want these motherfuckers to fucking fuck with our Twitch. Wear some pants.
Was that with Alyssa Marceau?
Alyssa, yeah. So this is like the suffering.
He wore pants.
No, those weren't. No, Alyssa wore pants.
She wore some nice booty
cheeks.
wrestling.
She's in wrestling attire.
Yeah, she's wearing some shorts, bro. She's good.
It's a but I'm not gonna argue with this. Anyway, so
stop being a misogynist.
Sure. All right, fuck it. Well, anyway, assholes. You know what? I like Marissa because Marissa does content, but I'm gonna be honest, and it's not being rude, but I was kind of like, ugh, that it's Alyssa. Yeah, that's that kind of like, I don't know, man. It just kind of bugged me that Alyssa shows up and I'm gonna fuck you up. So, and then because like, what was the reasoning? I glazed out. Maybe I was too drunk to fucking understand.
Marissa has taken shots
at John
at Elliot Parker.
Elliot
Parker.
Yeah,
Alyssa's husband. Yeah. So the whole thing, because that's kind of like an offshoot of the Wolves of Vanguard and Wrestling Club feud. So it was a small thing, but she does have a little bit of motive.
Okay. All right. Let's hate then. I apologize. Okay. Well, we'll give it that. Yeah. Good spot. Am I wrong in saying it took a little too long to get to that spot, or is I'm gonna use you, Jay, because you're the guideline.
I don't know that it did. Because the action was so, and it may be something that benefits very heavily from the incredible matches we had. So between them, you were still like, oh my God, like you were satisfied enough that where if anything did go long, you didn't even notice it. I didn't think this went long. I think Marissa always does a good job of having, again, substance and presence in everything she does. And then when Alyssa Marceau showed up, I was open to it because I don't want to get stuck in a rut where we're recycling the same stars over and over again. So
fair.
Alyssa kind of moving up the marks and being more interesting than Elliot Parker, which is not a difficult thing to do, is something that I am interested in.
Okay. I'll like, here's the thing. Like, I don't mind being the actual original Vanilla Gorilla. I don't mind conceding. It's fine. I'll hold my concession.
Well, it's subjective though. It's subjective. Like you can say that, but I just don't agree.
My thing is like I don't like this whole theme of like whenever I speak, people just like shut up, old man. That's kind of getting annoying, and I'm trying really hard.
That's not what's happening.
That's not the case.
I kind of feel like it is.
That's not what's happening.
It kind of feels like not now, but I'm just in general.
You want me to just agree with you every single thing you say? You don't want that either.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, that's disgusting. I don't know. I just get this feeling whenever I say anything, it's like, well, listen here, you're fucking wrong, and it's like, oh, really? Okay. Anyway, so not about me, but see, I'm being polite. L. Brian, your thoughts?
I'm
trying, dude. Trying really
You're doing
hard.
so good, Jay. Here's your flowers. You're doing great.
Thank you.
You're doing really good. But it's not that I didn't not want to like it. It's just there's not really been much with Alyssa. So like when she was, when she came out and she did her thing with Marissa, it was just kind of like, okay, like that's cool. It's more so like, let me see. I want to get to the ending. I want to see the actual payoff, and that's sort of my thing is sometimes we get stuff that started, then through circumstances, it has to get abandoned and it never comes to fruition. So I'm really hoping that this is sort of the story that starts Alyssa's proper momentum. Whether she wins or loses the inevitable match, I imagine that's going to happen on a pay-per-view or, Riot, Turmoil, whatever. I just hope we see, we keep seeing more, it's like, I don't want it to just be like, what?
I'm sorry. I just said incredibly fair. I'm just agreeing. Consciously.
Oh, okay. My bad. I just want to see. I want to see the outcome. I want to see it come to fruition. So I'm hesitant, but it was good. Obviously, as I said before, it's Rye. Rye does good shit, but I'm just hesitant that it's going to get abandoned. But I hope they prove me wrong, and I hope they make me look stupid, and I hope the story does knock it out of the park, and we could potentially see a new women's champion contender out of Alyssa, or maybe Marissa could get that much needed victory to project herself to FloJo. So you never know.
So here's the funny part about Rye. I've always been a Rye fan, but I do remember when everybody was anti-Rye. So it's really funny.
That was because of the character.
Everybody,
it wasn't
stop. Don't say everybody.
It wasn't everybody either. It was just because of what Marissa looked like initially, but then as a whole, besides the one or few haters that, you know, still can't get over Turbo Thought, like, we have a cause call with Marissa, and that's that. Marissa is our cause call person, but they're not obnoxious.
I wouldn't even call Marissa cause call person, because Marissa works harder than a lot of motherfuckers.
No. You're.
Whatever,
I mean, cause call as the looks.
Oh yeah. Fair.
Not. Rye's work ethic is fucking none on how many videos that they do. So
Rye was at the point. Yeah, Rye was at the point where essentially Rye wasn't booked on TV because Rye would just do content anyway. So I was like, oh, fuck it. You know, that's why I told you, I was like, I don't think we need to book Rye because Rye's gonna just do shit anyway. So like, you know, it makes sense. Rye is kind of like I guess if you want to use WWE, Rye is kind of like a WWE thing in the sense that without someone having to tell Rye anything, Rye just kind of switches shit up whether it works or not. Like at one point, you know, Mina was, you know, the futuristic lady. Now she's a valet. Fuck the future. And like Rye just kind of evolves and changes as, I guess, whatever Rye's feeling. I don't know the thought process, but I kind of appreciate how, like, you know, Rye just does shit. So shout out to Rye on that. So let's move on. We have the tag hype video. Fucking, we won't talk about it too much, but it was fucking great. It gave the history. Yeah, it gave the fucking history, the breakdown. There's not really more that needs to be said about that. That, you know, things like this are good because they give context to the match. So the actual match itself, a shout out to Owen. So the actual match itself, I dug the match. My only fucking concern is like Elliot Parker just continually making so many critical mistakes in this match. Like, fuck. Everybody clowns Elliot, but like I don't understand what the hell happened. Like there was so many just like horrible decisions and choices, and you know they just surmount, and then that's what happens. I just found it kind of funny that while this the Florida Keys is Sheldon said that's his signature, that reminds me of John Carter's kind of like his reliance on the H-plex that was taking so many people out. So it's kind of cool to see that happen to John Carter on like a K-Fizz kind of level. So that was dope. Jake Allen, your thoughts on the tag match?
It was great. The hype package, like I said, and like you said, it providing the history. It's so easy when you watch week to week, and maybe some people don't get as invested in the promos or whatever, to forget about how long this has been going on. So that promo just weaved it all together. And you can do that shit in like 2 minutes, and you don't need fancy After Effects. Like Owen used fancy After Effects. I don't use After Effects. My video work is third rate. It's terrible. But the point is to get across that there's a lot of history there, and it's more than just a stupid wrestling match in a video game. So hats off to that. The match itself, Elliot Parker at this point is, I don't think it's a problem what he's done. I think that's just who he is. So like you're like, he keeps making these mistakes, but they're mistakes within the confines of his character and of the match. They're not mistakes in like he's leaving Michael Cole on commentary or anything like that. So it's frustrating, like from a fun standpoint. You don't have to be frustrated from a production standpoint.
No, not production at all. Just character
I don't really care.
I just
sure, but yeah. I'm just clarifying what you said, and to make it clear that what Elliot is doing, I'm glad he's leaning into it, and that he is his whole character arc is that he is a fuck up, and he keeps messing things up for his team or him or whatever. The Andy Ninja Pop, I have to point out because they posted it in the show discussion thread, that John Carter, when he saw the attire, said, "This is going to be stupid. Nobody's going to like it. People are going to shit all over it. You need to change it immediately."
John's a fucking dummy.
And Elliot Parker. Elliot stuck to his guns, and he said, "You're just going to have to trust me on this one." And I'm so glad he did, because when we're on commentary, that combined entrance where he walks out after was chef's kiss. I don't care what he did in the match after that, just the throwback.
Oh,
was
that
awesome.
that made me, I fucking lost my mind. Like shit like that is what I love to see. Like if ever CQC forms up, I will probably make loud noises and make people upset. I'll probably make Kent Mack. I'll start singing the song. Yeah, no, I fucking love that shit. That shit made my fucking day. Once I saw that squeal like a little girl. If you listen back, you might notice I trail off because I hit the thing button on me, so I wouldn't be so loud. So I hit the pad button, so I'm just shouting in my fucking bedroom like a little girl. I don't know what.
And real quick, Jay, the last thing.
What?
I'm sorry. The last thing that I want to mention is that I'm glad we shuffled it and made this tag match the last of the 3, because I'm sure there was as I told you when we were doing commentary, I'm sure there was questions like a lot of people may have thought that Dominion versus Uncrowned may have been if not the second to last match, then the last tag match. But I'm glad that we're putting the tag titles on.
No, that was you. That was you fighting for it. But yeah, but
I know
again,
they haven't been on they haven't been on pay-per-view in a long time. They deserve it.
Sure, but you know my reasoning for it. So I'll give you the kudos. But
I
again,
do. Well, it hasn't earned the spot that it did this time.
Not necessarily the earning spot.
Now it has.
All right. I get you, Elliot. So we'll get you a new controller. I can't do it because I'm about to be broke, but don't worry about it.
This
Brian,
controller
your thoughts?
thing.
I get you a controller, brother. We got to crowdsource him a controller. Go ahead.
So just to peek behind the curtain a little bit, I'm extremely proud of everyone that was involved in this story, from Wolves of Vanguard, TWC, and Sanctum, because something that for me that really made me proud of this story and this match is the fact that I want to say probably for the first time in like 2 years, we haven't had a tag title match on a pay-per-view that didn't have CQC, Lucha Country, or Puro Country. So, it was one of the first times where we had 2 literal fresh teams in the tag division, new champions, and even the sense of, a new formation of the Wrestle Club in a way when we had Carter and Parker. So it was just, that was why I was really happy with it. And when Jake was like, hey, you're going on the pay-per-view, I was like, thanks, big money. I really appreciate that. So the hype package and everything that we did, I think it was wonderful. Parker is a bit of a dumbass, and, Sanctum Lads on top, baby. That's how we do this shit.
That controller shit ain't working for that man, but he got a new controller. All right, so moving right along, we have Chris Baxter attacked by the blacksmith. I love Chris. I'm glad he's working with somebody. So production notes, complaints on the production. Well, in general, a lot of our production issues come from volume. I have to do a tutorial on this because there's too many times where we'll be watching a segment and then it's one part and the next part is like, I'm not gonna yell. I was about to yell and I stopped myself. But you understand what I'm saying? It's like, God damn it! Like we have to fix that. But that's a minor thing. Well, it's not a minor thing, but it's an important thing. This segment didn't run long. My only concern is that from a production standpoint, we already saw someone go through a table earlier. That's not their fault. It's just, a thing that happens. This is a thing that happens when you have an EFED, so you really can't prevent it. So it's nothing really to bitch about, but it's just, I was like, all right, well, motherfuckers going through a table. Flaming table this time. My only concern is that Mantis really does look like fucking someone out of Game Changer Wrestling, like one of the fucking Jersey shows. I guess, swear to God. Like, you look at him, like, I don't hate the Mantis character. I don't hate Mantis as a person. It's just that he looks so, like, fucking tiny and skinny and insignificant. It was a good segment overall, and I look forward to seeing them link up. It's just kind of funny, though. It looks like some indie garbage shit, though. That's what it looks like. But the content itself is fine and solid and dope. But if you understand what I'm trying to say, it does look like Outlaw Mud Show shit. Because
let me
go ahead.
Let me take the first reins on this.
Take the first reins.
Let me make a bold comparison by saying that what you're saying about Mantis'
is wrong.
Aesthetics
go ahead.
Are very similar.
Go
Shut
ahead.
up, you fucking weasel.
Wow. Okay.
Let the man speak.
Hold on. Yes, you're beautiful, Jay. You're so pretty. You're correct.
Jesus.
And I'm saying that in a separate point, they're similar to how people should look at Marissa, because Marissa is different in the way that she is of something that nobody really wants, but in our environment, she's very unique and stands on her own 2 feet. I think Mantis is the same way. You can look at him and say, oh, well, he's just this indie whatever. He's got the whole Finn Balor thing and like the demon, and he's 158 pounds. But amongst the rest of the roster, that is incredibly unique and stands out and has so much potential for good shit. And I'm glad that Mantis has stuck with this particular story, especially he was out actually to pull back the curtain again for like 2.5 weeks. So I'm glad we were able to put this together. With it's been a bit of a slow burn, but that's all I wanted to say. Is just
Okay.
the Mantis aesthetic is what you are saying. You are correct, but it's in that makes them very unique and stands out. And hopefully, but I keep telling everybody you need to double down on what makes unique instead of listening to one person say one bad thing and going on.
Okay. So I'm not going to argue because it's a discussion. So my only thing is I don't mind the Balor. I don't mind anything. It's just not even the aesthetic of Mantis. It's just how insignificant the character itself look. Like, remember when we used to gig on Salami for being malnourished? That's the same principle. He needs to put on a little weight.
And Salami stood out. And Salami
and
did
he
that
put on and he put on weight though. Remember he put on weight though. Yes, he did.
No. Solomon Kane put on weight at the very end of his run before he retired. Like on his last feud, maybe he started putting on weight. But like what he changed was taking out the NXT stuff and the WWE stuff on his entrance and like functional things that matter. But he was still skinny ass Solomon Kane all the way through his championship run when he beat Doc and when he fought Doc again.
Okay, not to cut you off, but just look at the chat because he specified that I'm just basically doing I need a little bit more meat. Other than that, I don't care. You know,
he was still skinny.
Yeah, no, that's
still still skinny the whole time.
We're splitting hairs, and I'm not gonna be rude and drunk. So we're splitting hairs. We can agree to disagree. It's fine. Bell Brian, see, I'm growing as a human being. I'm proud of myself.
You are. You're doing really good.
Thank you.
I love as much shit at times as Mantis will get. I have to say I'm really proud to see that he's doing this story with Baxter, with Carmine, and the inner Mark in me came out because when Carmine came out for the save, I was really hoping he would do his entrance first to get what happened on AEW.
That's not how that works. You're not supposed to do that. No.
But then he came out and but the thing is though, which I also laughed at this, is he doesn't even touch Baxter. He's like, "Hey man, you good? I'm not going to touch you. We got a social distance."
You can't really do shit in the game, but yeah, no.
He was on fire. He didn't want to touch him because he was too hot.
Yeah,
he was hot to the touch.
It's smart.
He was like, "That booty's rated R."
You know what? You know what's funny? You know what's funny about that? That's actually a good point that I actually missed. Oftentimes in AEW, or that's the best example. Like when something's happening, the music plays and the person. You don't have to always have the music play in the entrance. You can just get your ass to the fucking ring. The theatrics aren't needed for certain things. For certain things, it's serious, whatever. So he just fucking showed up. So shout out to you, Jack. I appreciate that. That was a nuance that I actually missed until I heard it again. I was like, oh, this is, it made sense, but I couldn't put two and two together because I'm fucking ape.
Sure, it's all contextual. It's all contextual.
Well, we need more of that.
You know that I'm huge on moments. You go back to any segment I've ever done, and I'm huge on the pomp and the big crazy surprise entrance. But there's moments where it's necessary, and then there's other moments where it doesn't make sense, and you have to be able to
trial and error
leverage that in your brain.
You learn it with wrestling. Like the best moment. I was getting ready to pitch a CQC moment. Anyway, moving on, because that's chill. Because you see it, and then all of a sudden the CQC thing comes out, and just come running down. Oh my god!
You're just building yourself up to
disappointment. Yeah, I know. Okay, so we're moving on. We have the Max hype. I don't want to we're not gonna talk about the hype, but it was great. It was a great basically breakdown of between the two characters, which I can appreciate. Again, like I said earlier, when you have a hype video and the person didn't win, it gets bonus points. So I love the hype video. It showed how both people are succeeding. So we'll take us to the match, and if you guys want to talk about the hype video after that, that's fine, or during that. So we have Max Edwards versus Mark Reese. So like Tibby was saying, the only problem with this match is you want both to win, and whoever won, it would hurt. So that's what it was. I wanted Mark Reese to win a title, but I didn't want it to be at the cost of Max Edwards. I really wanted because on paper, you look at Mark Reese, you look at the handler, you look at everything, and you see Mark Reese fuck. It's that was the same thing with Harris, but he overcame the odds. He overcame the odds on Harris. So I was really hoping he would do it for fucking Mark, and he couldn't. It legit, I had a visceral reaction because I like Mark Reese, but I was like, fuck. because I wanted Max to have this. I wanted Max to have this victory and be like, thank God, yes. I know wins and losses don't matter, blah 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 blah. But I really truly wanted fucking Max to get this W so he can cement the legacy of, you know, not the guy that you count out because it's like, oh, it's Max. Okay, well, he's gonna do a good video, but you know, he's probably gonna lose. Like, I wanted him to get that W, so like, yes, he's the fucking guy. But hey, K Sarah was a fucking great, you know, it was like one of those uphill battles, and it just, the ending was beautiful. Like, he missed, he rolled out, and he fucking got caught, que se hola, and you know, Bob's your fucking uncle. Another good match. I think it's worthy of the, you know, the second to the main event, so it is what it is. I'll take it to Jake. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's no reason to like harp too much on the match itself because it was perfection, like most of the other matches were. The ending is, from a comp standpoint, I just will briefly mention, like, Max is, like, he's got him red, and like, seriously, one different move from there. If that corner move, that tornado DDT, hits the body instead of the head, and he goes into a finish instead of having to go to the top rope, like, and Mark Reese's second reversal was nearly charged. It was such a tense moment, but that's what makes OCW great. Is it's organic and things have to happen on the fly. But the story goes hand in hand with what I said earlier, in that a lot of our matchups, most of them, almost all of them, were people that were meeting at this pivotal moment of their either reign or their arc or whatever. Like Mark Reese shooting up, absolutely skyrocketing up from where he was as a tag team competitor, even carrying Isu, and then becoming the singles guy that he is now, hopefully for the foreseeable future. Max told a beautiful story in that hype package. That there was a line in there, and I don't know the song well enough to know it, but it was like looking at somebody I barely know, and it faded from the Lucha Country to Mark Reese peering over to Isu in that championship intro. It was awesome. It was my favorite moment of any segment of the night. But anyway, but yes, they met each other at this perfect moment, and this match I think would have been way like more dramatic had Max had a longer run, because I agree with everything you said. You hit the nail right on the head. This is one where I wanted both to win, but not now. I wanted Max to have a 280-day reign, and then I wanted Mark to take it. I wanted Max to have the kind of reign where he had the double turn at, not the double turn, but the basically babyface turn at End Games, and then I wanted him to get to a point where people hated to see him have the title, and then Mark takes it. But that's Max, and that's comp, and you get to a point where you're just fighting the top competitors every single time, and it was awesome.
Comp is comp. O'Brien.
To literally, I'm in the same boat as Jake. It's one of those, you know, title defenses where it's like there is no outright winner, because Max is, and like, this is something I told Max when he won the title. I was like, oh, good, like finally we can have someone to bring some stability to the title, because the international title has been flip-flopping for quite some time now, you know, like ever since Danny won it. He only had the one defense, and then he lost it, and, you know, Colin and Trey Expaganza and all that. So it's like, to see Max go into his first defense with Harris Turner, which was just a monster of a man right then and there, and then your second defense, the second one, you have Mark Reese. It's like, damn, bro. It's like literally going against the Hulk. You don't, like, what can you do? You just try to survive, you know? So both guys did really good. And I'm curious to see more so where Max goes along after this, because obviously now Reese is the hunted now, you know, kind of stealing it from the FloJo package. That was on the top of my head, is, you know, Reese is now the one that you got to chase. You got to go and show Reese that you want the title. Whereas Max, it's like, where could he go? Because he could... Who knows? Maybe he's bored and wants to go for a North American Championship. He could go for a CCW, or he could go and do something even crazier and become a movie director. You never know. But it was awesome, and it definitely deserved the co-main event spot, because that story, how it was put together, once again, you know, it's just one of those stories where when it was put together so quickly but so well done, that it's like you really got to give those guys a round of applause.
100%. This entire show was it was bittersweet, to be honest with you, because between, you know, 19 and then 22, which we'll talk about before we wrap up. But before we wrap up, we have the main event, the one where we wanted the meteor to hit and we can all move on with our lives. It was El Parka versus H2O. Whoever wins, we loses. Should I give my thoughts first, or should I have someone else start?
Yes.
That's you.
Yes. Okay.
It's your show.
No, but I'm trying to be a fair human being. Okay. So I have a couple of not gripes. The match itself was bog standard, whatever. I told Harvey in private, you better not fucking lose. And when he lost, I was like, I called him a piece of shit. But it is what it is. I'm honest. So what the fuck you want? I keep it 100. I was like, he's like, yeah, I knew he was gonna go for my arms. I'm like, yeah, you know he goes for the arms. So why the fuck did you do better? But it is what it is. So Parker has been building himself as super heel for the longest time. Like it's been since basically. So at Lucian, it was kind of Diet, and then the kind of the reverse order between the Mark Reese and the Antonio Everett. But since then, it's basically been the course correct of becoming more and more of an asshole and this, that, Bob's your uncle. And, basically everybody knows OCW for the most part is a hero. And here's your fucking boy. Let's go. Fuck off. Anyway, so essentially he's been building up what you need to be as a heel. Being a heel is usually easier than being a babyface. I prefer heel Parker than, babyface El Parker because babyface El Parker.
We're the opposite.
You don't?
We're the opposite. Babyface
we are
Parker
definitely
was so
the
much
opposite.
easier.
Really? Okay, well, agree to disagree.
Babyface is so much easier for me as a handler, if I'm being completely honest with you. That was kind of why, because I'll let you continue. I'm sorry for interjecting.
No problem.
That was kind of why, to give you a little bit of backstory, not backstory, but, context on, the little switch up is when the heel turn happened, I'm not going to lie, character-wise, I didn't fully have what I wanted to get, what I wanted in my head, So it's like when we did the split up, in my head, I was like, okay, I need to go and become CCW champion. So then that way it's Lucha Country, the imploding one-on-one. And then, for the CCW title, but obviously, hey, baby, comp is comp. Everett retained, what happened. But then it was after the Reese program where I was like, okay, I know now sort of where I want to take the character as this asshole heel. And that's what we saw with, the Colin and Chris Green feuds.
So, honestly, with all that you said, not trying to even be disrespectful, nothing. I'm not going to be, but you guys disagree, but
he definitely are going to.
No, I'm not. Wasn't even gonna say anything mean. Honestly, I'll be honest. I got sidetracked with fucking John being a dipshit. So I was like, who the fuck is that idiot? But
shocking development.
Sorry, he's fucking dipshit. Wait, because he's a dipshit or because I got distracted?
No, mostly because he's a dipshit.
Okay,
but the other one works.
Fine. So, I can appreciate it, but my only issue, for the heel turn, honestly, has been mint because it kind of fits of how the person is on fucking Discord, which is, it's one of those weird things, like the same thing with Pew, when Pew was like, oh, I'm a face, but everyone's like, you're a dick, but whatever. I like the heel turn. I actually, it works. And, being an asshole and breaking the arms and this, that, Bob's your uncle, that works. My only thing that kind of pissed me off, and again, you're a big boy, I can talk to you directly. It's like you have the little Eddie Guerrero thing where you're a sex pest, kind of, to all, to certain women in the locker room, and then, which is fine, but then, and the same token, you become the killer on the other side. The only reason it bugs me is because it feels like it's, and Jake's gonna hate this example, but it reminds me of AEW where it's like everyone's just doing their own thing. You can be both, I guess, but it's like, if you're focusing on being a monster, then be the monster. You don't have time to be like the comic relief, get beat up by, get popped by Blaine kind of thing. You have to be the monster, especially if you go into the main event. Does that make any sense, or am I out of pocket?
Oh, no, you're 100%.
You think I'm out of pocket, Jake, or are you
right.
being facetious?
I just said I don't think you're out of pocket.
I thought you said. Sorry, I thought you said.
But I think this is more of a
nuance.
I think this is more of a taste thing. No, it is nuance. I think it's more of a taste, but I don't think you can't do both. I think there's plenty of room for you to do both. If I give some real life examples, some perfect real life examples.
Give some examples.
Seth Rollins and Matt Cardona do what Parka is doing perfectly. Because you are taking him seriously every step of the way when he's in the ring, but you understand that he is a goddamn cartoon character in every other sense.
Okay.
And think of the ways, and when you say monster, you have to be more specific, because think of the ways that El Parka has been a monster in kayfabe. He is gone behind people's backs. He's attacking people after the match or before the match. He attacked a helpless 50-something-year-old
That's
lady.
what I'm saying.
It's not.
Yes.
It's not. Yes. But listen. But that's
Wow.
something
Sorry.
that's something any dickhead can do. That doesn't require you to be Leo Grimm. It's not like he's walking out there with a scary mask and he's like, I'm gonna murder everybody, and then he goes and be's funny. He's doing something within the confines of the universe that still makes sense. You can be funny backstage and be an asshole, and then go be conniving. And he's not monstrous. He's conniving. He's evil. He's immoral. There's a big difference between those two things. And I think you said his heel turn has been mint, and that's where I agree with you, because he hasn't gone to that, I'm taking myself way too seriously and I'm a big bad heel. He's not doing that. He is intentionally, I'm going to beat up Chris Green, this rookie, and break his arm.
That is fine. That's what I'm saying. That all that is perfect. It's just that, you do that one scene and then the next scene you're like, my baby, oh, don't treat me so wrong. That's what I'm saying. We're like, what the fuck? That's what I'm saying. Like, I have no issue with being a piece of shit, but it's just like, for example, when you want to use Kurt Angle was that, but when Kurt Angle was putting on the silly hat and playing the kazoo with Stone Cold Steve Austin, the same show, he also wasn't trying to fucking murder somebody. You get what I'm saying? That's my only issue. You can be either or, and you can even be both. Like, no, you can be either or, but it's just the timing of it. So on one show,
I don't think we're going to get there. I don't think we're going to get there, because you're in terms of agreement, because what you're describing, where people are silly backstage and then serious in the ring, that happens. It still happens today. It happened back then with Kurt Angle, and it happens now. And I didn't lose any kind of immersion when Park had the one segment with Blaine.
Well, I'm not gonna.
But that's a subjective thing.
No,
there's nothing objective about what we're talking
it's just
about.
like,
so there's no reason for you to get upset.
I'm not upset. I'm actually not upset. I'm fine, because I remember last time I was very rude. So I'm not trying to be rude. I'm trying to be understanding and acceptable as an owner. So that was my personal beef. But that's not even with the actual match. The match was actually fine. Fucking Harvey can get it done. Harvey fucking loses, and we have a new fucking champion. So that's basically it. Did we actually discuss the actual match, or did I divert us?
We did not.
No.
Oh, well, a lot of this match is baked into the story.
Yes.
Because the match itself fell short of the rest of the matches on the card, but that's comp is comp. It's not. Yes, it's not. I mean,
Really?
It's not the fault. Yeah, I mean, when you look at what happened on the show, I'm not saying it was bad. It wasn't bad, but it was like a 4. It was like a 3.5 in a sea of 4.5s, is what I mean. So a lot of this was baked into the story, and that's why pro wrestling is great. Is you don't need to have a 5-star classic to have a compelling match, which this was. So I thought it was okay, but the story did most of the heavy lifting. Brian, you haven't talked, so go ahead.
Yes, you can talk. Fucking Jake yelling at me. Jesus Christ, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's my match, so I'm not really gonna, like, objectively, I can't really say much about it, other than the fact that I went in there and I was shitting myself, because
you had a plan, though.
It's H2O.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course. I had a plan, and that's, to stick to the game plan of attack the arms. But, it's like, it's also H2O, and something that and I'm sure Jake will also be able to agree with me on this as well. Something that I love about doing matches with H2O, especially on 2K19, is it's ruthless. It's just straight up aggression. You know what I mean? Like, you're not doing, and I'm not making shots at anyone, you're not doing corner to corner resets. You're not, you're doing 1 to 3 steps resets, and we're beating the shit out of each other. Like, you've seen it when he majored me on the outside of the ring. He just literally started beating the dog shit out of me. And, it's like, that was something that I really liked about it. Because even when we were done and I seen what the timestamp for the match was and I seen what happened, I was like, well, this isn't essentially the world title match, like, in my mind, that I would have wanted. Because, like, in reality, in the perfect world, we kick out of a bunch of finishers. It's this match of the year candidate, all hunky, happy dory wonderfulness. But, in my mind, facts.
That's my word.
In my mind, though, it was about the theatrics of it. It was about the aftermath of, not only was Parker essentially manifesting it, saying, like, he deserved the title and that he was going to do whatever he needed to do. It's like, we literally watched Parker ruin his celebration. He kicked his mom in the face. He broke his arm, and he threw the title H2O came out with and said, fuck it.
That was amazing.
The original title.
That was the one thing I loved. Because that shit
That's
got
a separate thing. That's layered.
It was funny because I was in staff. I was like, am I? Because I'm like, because now everybody got me questioning. Was like, am I bugging or did he change the title? And I posted screenshots. I posted one with Jake, and I posted one with what you call it. I posted one with what you call it. With they saw, I'm like, wait, is that a different title? And like,
Yeah, he did change it.
And we
Yep.
all, and I got so angry. I was like so sorry. So when that happened, I was like, thank God, at least we have fucking that. I was like,
So funny. It was so late because you asked this question like 3 days ago, and he's had the change title since after he beat Corey.
No. When the first introduction, he had the actual original.
No, he didn't. He changed it the very first time he walked out with it. The very moment he walked. That's why when you asked me like 3 or 4 days ago,
fuck
I'm
me
like,
then.
Yeah, is this news to you? Like he did this ages ago.
I'm fucking old. I'm old, dude.
He changed it with his title celebration when he went out and celebrated.
Yeah, right. But that's another part of it. That's why the theatrics of it are what puts this match in the same tier as the rest of the pay-per-view, because you have the whole story that led up to it, and then the post stuff was because if you just have that match or whatever, like, because I had the same problem, Brian, when we had our match at the anniversary show. Where it didn't live up to my comp expectations. I dropped the ball, like whatever. And yes, when you fight Harvey, it is balls to the wall. But I didn't get up after, like, it was one super kick and that was it. So like there has to be some other stuff that builds around it. The story was whatever. They had the post scene where he's holding the title. So that whole thing was perfectly executed, I think. And then it was almost a non-kayfabe face turn. When Jay and I were watching and you said, get this title out of my face, and you throw it down and picked up the real one, I was like, oh yeah, I'm on board now. Let's go.
Yeah, it was. Fuck his mom. Kick her again.
Yeah, get her again.
Hit her again. So with that, I guess my only thing that bugged me about that specifically was I didn't like how he wound up getting revenge on the same show. You should have got away, period. But then again, I got to get my heat back, because you never know, because of course, if you wound up losing, you got to get my heat back. But that part should have ended. Well, that's honestly not this show, but the show prior. You should have just fucking got out of Dodge, like, fuck you ain't catching me, bitch. And he stews
when did he
on
get
that.
his heat back?
No, I'm saying like he got his heat back when his mom got fucking decimated, and then
you're talking about Harvey, right?
Yeah, and then later in the show, Harvey comes out and fucking knocks the shit out of Parker in the main event.
The main event.
Yeah, Parker should have been able to get away and piece the fuck out.
Well, he was booked. That's the OCW thing,
I know
right?
he's booked, but I'm just saying, like, what should have happened is he should have never got his hands on Parker until the actual fucking pay-per-view. But that doesn't matter. That's just my fucking stupid wrestling brain that kicks in every now and again for fucking dumb shit. But whatever, it's not a big deal. It's just shit that I go, ugh. But yeah, no, congratulations. Don't fuck it up. That's basically it.
I'm gonna try not to.
I swear don't. I'll bug you. I guess maybe, I don't know. Jake always has this theory.
Just trust.
Jake always has this theory about it. Like, what was your theory about the title, Jake, or the world title? You had one. No, Nate, go away. With me, because you're like, oh, you shouldn't tell people.
I said, because you said as soon as it ended, you said what you just said to him. You're like, oh, he better not fuck it up. And I don't know about this. I'm going to have to, I'm just like, I just said, like, don't stifle him. Don't, like, let creativity happen in OCW, because for better or worse, even when it's shit, it's unique and creative, and you are not holding dominion, no pun intended, over the rest of everything. So no matter what you think of any title holder, you should let them be them, and let them, if you think they're going to be shit, bury themselves. Or if you don't think they're going to be shit, prop the whole Fed as a whole up. So don't try and put too many hands or restrictions on anybody in particular, whether it's Brian or anybody.
Why do you like? I don't do that though. Like,
you asked me. That's what I told you. You asked me.
You don't have to shout at me, Jake Allen. I'm sorry.
Anyway. Well, and it's also just to say it, and because it's credit to you. It's credit to you and staff. All of the opportunities that you've given me, I would hope that there's a little shred of not even trust, but hope, because at the end of the day, my main philosophy, all credit to Jake about this, is it's all about the content. I'm not, I'm not sitting here and I know, there's the running gag of oh, he's the heel because of how he acts in Discord. And I've been trying to distance from that because I get my feelings. People think I'm just a crazy asshole.
You've been doing a very bad job if you try to distance yourself from that.
Because I do banter.
I have to agree with Jay here.
Yeah, you've been doing a horrible fucking job, dude. I try to
do more so the banter stuff. But, at the end of the day, as I move on, because that combo doesn't interest me right now, it's, I'm going to, I'm gonna do my best for OCW. You know, like that's at the end of the day, that's all that matters to me. Is it's like, yeah, cool, I'm the world champion, but it's like the work starts. You know, like now the actual trying to make it be worthwhile and make the like. I told Harvey this. All I want to do is just try and make the OCW content better, and so that's why the match and the feud fell into my lap because I literally told him, I was like, oh, hey, like we should work sometime. And then literally the day of the anniversary show, I was like, hey, if you win, it was at like noon. I was like, I need that. And then obviously we seen, and I was like, oh, well, fuck, I didn't expect to be here, but now I'm here. And I can't wait to post the Conor McGregor double champ gift because Brian Dostraps, baby, was good.
Yeah, no, we're not going to do that. So we're never going to do that. We're never, ever going to do that. So before we go, because we actually made good time.
He'll make you a liar before the end of the month.
Who, me or him?
No, he will make you a liar. You say we're not going to do that. He'll post that gif until the end of eternity.
How dare you? So before we go, the only other thing is, again, thank you for 2K19 for being amazing. Oh, holy shit. At least visually. But now we have. Why are you laughing like that?
He just did it. He just posted it.
Did that shit
oh,
on
he
purpose.
did in Discord?
Yeah.
Do I have to kick a champion from Discord? Is that
No,
what I
don't
gotta
do that. That's wild. Don't kick the senior junior staff member.
You're not
The
staff.
senior. Oh god.
Anyway, so
It's okay. He can have my spot.
no, see
No,
that.
no,
See,
I'm good.
you
I'm
can't
good.
say that. You can't say that.
Yes, bro.
I don't need you to
Yeah,
say that.
I'm sorry.
I'll keep
I'm
my
just joking.
ambition
When you say
square,
shit
and that's
like
all I need.
when you
I'm
say shit
joking.
like that, that legit like gets me like really.
I know. I only said that to make Jay's skin hot. I'm just joking.
Yeah, it's not even hot. It's sad. You don't want me sad. That's the most.
We don't want you sad.
People think that I'm the most dangerous when I'm angry. It's when I'm sad that I'm the most dangerous.
Man's about to give me the sensational crane real quick. He's like, "You're gonna try and make Jake go away? Fuck you, Brian."
So we have 22, and as expected, like people are in their I guess, as Max said, fifis. I don't know the practical application. Like we'll make it work, but it just feels like it's so fucking difficult to make that shit work just because of how it's set up. Like the game is fun, but it's fun like not on a competitive level. So I'm just really worried about how that's gonna like work. For example, you can basically, the only way you can really end the match is if you put a sub on, unless we put some contrived rule into it, which you know
can kick out of those too, just if you
exactly.
Yeah, no, I have no issue kicking out of anything. If they put that meter, because the actual pin meter this year is actually really fucking good. If they put that online,
it's the old school one.
No, it's the old school one, but it's tricky.
But it's good.
If they put that back, will be great. But they're probably not going to, because they don't give a fuck about people like us. So we'll have to come up with some contrived rules for match finishes. And there's already people opting out. B17 gets headaches. Jake is fucking sick to his stomach. Nate got personal shit coming up. So it's gonna be interesting to see what the fuck happens with this. All I gotta say is that at the end of the day is that hopefully people can just be respectful when it comes to the actual what has to be done, because a lot of stuff is similar, but then there's stuff that requires actual work, which people aren't used to. Like I fought Cass in the triple threat yesterday and it was fine, but the problem is that if you don't download Cass, then he just has no tattoos, so we're gonna need the recorders to step up. We're gonna need people to communicate. We're gonna need people to fucking not be like lazy. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, while we try to work out how the fuck we can make this, in addition to fun, because it's fun playing, but just you can't end it, which is the part that annoys me. Like we have to come up with bullshit, and that kind of sucks the competitive nature out of it. So it's like this weird thing that we're in now, that we have to kind of come together and work together, even though we have to be competitive, because 19, you can be competitive and you have the nuts and bolts to be competitive, and we're used to it, and while it's visually appealing, it might not be so much fun to play. Game. 22.
Well,
go ahead, Jake.
I'm sorry, I didn't know you were not finished.
I wasn't finished, but you can make your point.
Well, okay. Well, here is a rare moment of optimism for me on this subject.
Rare? Because you keep saying you're opting out, so that's why I'm like, ugh. Go ahead.
Yes.
Anyways, your
Op-
optimism, Jake.
op-
Please keep going.
Optimism. You know what that means? The rare moment of optimism for me, because I have been pessimistic, which is why I've been opting out. Jay, Jesus. The rare moment of optimism is that I'm saying a lot of.
What you
just
no, hold on,
you just fundamentally fail to understand words so often, and it drives me absolutely fucking insane.
You get mad when I'm rude. I'm trying to be patient and kind, and you get mad at me again. What do I have
So
to do?
what's your point of optimism?
I'm sorry. Well, is that we have been operating on the same rule set for so long that I think we're trying to hold everything else to that same accord, and you can't do that. So what we're going to need to do is come up with a brand new system. Because let me put it to you this way. In 2K19, when we very first started, if that was a brand new system, we would have thought it was bananas to do some of the things that we did, like bumping people to reset. That's fucking crazy. Limiting how many times you can hit somebody. That's nuts. It all seems insane right now. But if we came up with a system for the other engine and the other gameplay that we had, then there's plenty of reason to think we can do the same now. There's certain things that will be different, but I don't necessarily think that different is always bad. The worst part right now that we have to deal with is that the ending to the match is problematic. And even then, we already have some not terrible ideas on how to solve that. So I think if we get rid of the idea that we're working from a 2K19 base and just clean the slate, then there's no expectations to be dashed. So that's...
No, I agree with that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's it. That's all I got.
So I agree with that. My thing is that, you guys don't have much of this because basically most of you came here from like maybe 18 to 19, and 19 we've nursed for like almost 4 years. So pretty much every year we would have to adapt to whatever the shit they gave us. And most of the time it was actual shit. For 22, there's a few things that I see that we can do. And it's, again, like Jake said, it's just different. So, I was actually looking at older FPR and looking at how fucking restrictive it was. There's basically my only issue right now with 22 is the fact that, everyone's like, oh, just hit Y. But it's not like it was in the old games. Not everything is a Y, so you not necessarily can dog people out. That's what kind of bugs me about it. No, you can dog people out. But what I'm saying is that I don't like that because in the old games you could dog somebody out, but you could always reverse. In this one, there's certain instances where reverse doesn't work, where you have to play a guessing game and it's random, which is annoying. Yes. So there's things that from 19 that we can move on to, we can use, and there's also things from the old handbook that would be applicable. Like one thing that I have a contention with, and we won't talk about this, we could end this very soon, is that like I don't necessarily agree that just fucking reverse. I agree. I think there should be some time where you can actually give your opponent a little bit of breathing room so that you guys can have quote unquote a soft reset to re-engage, because the way the game works is half the time is skill and then the other half is random, which is fucking annoying because it doesn't matter how good you are, you will fall to the fucking random bullshit unless you get incredibly lucky. And that's what I'm noticing with the actual game.
I don't think it's so? Random.
You don't think it's random?
I don't think it's random. Well, you're calling it random as if it was a dice roll where the user has no control. It's not random. You still have the ability to pick the input. It's not as clean cut as decide strike over grapple like it used to be in the old days. Now is this person going to go for a heavy strike here or a light strike here? And in the game engine, those have fundamental differences, because if you think they're going to go for damage, you hit A. If you think they're going to go for what basically at this point amounts to stun meter, you're going to hit X. And the stun meter is going to be so important now that it's going to be a big deal to like guess X. And if you guess X and they hit A, you're getting power bombed on your head. And that's I don't want you to deconstruct it as if it's a dice roll or a coin flip, because it's not that. It's not.
You
random.
don't think so? I feel like it is.
It's really not. No, it's not.
When you understand how each of the buttons work, you understand that it's not random. Each thing is weighted in the context in which they're doing it. Because nobody's going to do a heavy move when you're halfway stunned, because that's not going to add to the stun meter. They're going to do X, and then if you hit X, then it's a counter, and then there you go.
Okay, so that being said, I do still think that the idea that people are pitching, like, just fucking go hit Y, I don't think that's a good idea moving forward, because I don't want to put full restrictions, but I do want to put a little bit of restriction. Like, because you can honestly keep someone on the ground infinitely if you wanted to.
Yep.
That's
That
not
was
true.
something that
You
we were
don't
talking about.
think so,
I
Jake?
I don't.
actually will side with Jay on this one. I think you can keep someone on the ground for quite long because in DMs, and obviously, there's no rule set, there's no guideline. So we're just playing the game to play it. But, we're using the current stats that we have in mind. And with the breaker system, if someone just keeps grabbing you, like to where you have to do X or A or sort of whatever, I fully believe you could just keep doing them. Just keep doing what you got to do, because if they don't hit it, that's it. Until you go for just a normal grapple, which then they'll get triangle. So I think obviously this is way above my pay grade. So God bless you two gentlemen and the other staff members that have to deal with it. I think the biggest issues that you guys are going to have when it comes in terms of FPR is going to be the kick out situation and then the ground move situation. Because in my opinion, everything else, if you can't reverse or breaker your way out of it, that's on you. Because something that I myself have started to notice is like top rope moves. Those are pretty much gimmies. Once again, once you get your timing down, you can reverse them easy peasy and easy wheezy. Even combos at certain degrees, like you initially get a triangle. So if you can hit that initial triangle off of a combo, well, you don't even need to worry about a breaker. So, this is just from someone who is going to be competing.
Yeah, when you do DMs, I'm sorry to cut you off. When you do DMs, yeah,
No, you're
like
good.
that's basically the test model, because you do the DM, then you watch the match, it's like, eh. So there's like little things that I remember from the old games that not necessarily carry on, but like, for example, and we'll end with this basically. In the old games, the reason we didn't have a three whatever on the ground rule was because no matter what happened, if you did three things on the ground, they would automatically get up. So that would be essentially your soft reset.
That's in the game now, by the way.
Is it?
Just a quick.
Because I saw an option for it, but I didn't see it. I didn't see it. It didn't happen to me online because Cass was whooping my ass on the ground, as you saw.
It's 4. It's 4.
It's 4 now.
I haven't played enough online to confirm or not, but the thing is on by default, and that usually means that it exists online, and it is 4. So if you do 4 ground moves of any kind consecutively, then you'll get like an automatic breaker, basically.
Okay. It's not even the damage that's an issue, because the damage is ramped all the way the fuck up anyway. So getting someone to like that's another thing, but it's not even a thing, because the problem is that you can basically just infinitely fucking kick out. Like you really can, unless you have like a disability like CG has or whatever. I have arthritis. There are some people who can't I have no cartilage in half of my fucking joints, and I can kick out easily. And my fucking tricep is jacked to fuck because of yesterday fighting Empress and Cass. But that's a story for another day. So, long story short, we're gonna work on it. We're gonna try to make it as easy as possible. We're gonna try to make it as fair as possible. And visually, when everything clicks, the game looks fun and it looks exciting, and it's fun to play the AI, and sometimes it's fun to play your friends. The physics are good, so we just have to make it work, and we have to kind of have, I hate being the fucking, we have to have a positive mindset, because the problem is something can be fun, but when you want to play competitively, you don't want fun necessarily, you want to win. And that's at the end, we want to win, we want to put on a good match, but we also don't want like mierda. So, we got to fucking fix it. So we'll see what we get. We got to keep fucking with it, and then we'll figure something out, and then we can go from there. So basically, all I can really honestly say is when you do your DMs, just take note of goofy shit, so we can probably take a look at it, and then we can work from there. The main issue is the pin shit. That's basically it, because we're not going to end every match with a sub. That's not fucking happening. So motherfuckers like Diva, I don't give a fuck. That's not happening. Relax yourself. Relax your titties. It just bugs me. But other than that, I think we can make it work, and I think we can make it work visually. It's just that, again, we have to use WWE assets. Do you have any closing thoughts, Jake, before we wrap up?
Nope.
Good job. Okay. Anything else to add, Brian?
Am I allowed to, or do you want me to shut up and let you move?
You can add. Relax yourself.
It'll be quick.
Brody.
No. I'm just saying. I didn't know if you wanted to leave. First off, if you're still watching and you haven't hit follow, hit that follow. If you got Twitch Prime, definitely use that Twitch Prime. Jay needs to pay the bills, bro. We got that.
I do. Definitely.
And then seriously, my last point. I do want to thank you, Jay. I want to thank Jake. I want to thank all of the staff. Just everything that we have been able to do on 2K19 that you guys have allowed us to do. Even just Jay, some of the things that you've allowed me to do personally, I you're a great human, regardless of what you don't like compliments. I don't care. I'll make you uncomfortable right now. Thank you for OCW and what you allow us to have here. And I am truthfully excited to see what goes on with 22, because at the end of the tunnel, we won't be on the game for 3 years. I know we won't be on the game for 3 years because the license can't afford another instance like that. So if it's a little bit of a rocky year for this one, hopefully 23 or the AEW game or Wrestle Code, whichever, whatever, OCW will prosper and OCW will be here. So remember, Twitch Prime and follow. Do it right now or you get no bitches. All right, that's it.
Oh, you're probably a cop. So that's going to do it for us. Thank you for this joke, man. Have a chill. I appreciate it. I'm going to I'm going to cook dinner. Bye.
Bye.